this thing. What is OLTP? What is the data warehouse? What is ETL? What is BI? How the data is processed and stored. So we got some complete idea. Now we'll discuss how to do in the Snowflake. Okay. So I have explained how data engineer things people can handle these things. Coming back, how in the Snowflake real time the processing will be done. Okay, so if you take any traditional data warehouse, okay, we have third-party tools like Metli and Informatica, Azure Data Factory, Synapse. Okay, so I think you are new to this thing, but if you have any experience like 8 years, 9 years, most of the people have this ETL tool because this is very famous in the MNCs. Okay, most of the MNCs go with this Informatica. Okay, so like that they use some third party to process this data. Okay, now, in the Snowflake, we are not depending on any other ETL tool. We have our own objects, Snowflake objects. By using those objects, we can do ELT. We don't require any third-party tool here. By using these tools, we can do the ELT. Okay. So, what are the objects we require to do this ELT? Like nothing but ETL things. Okay. So there are multiple objects. Okay. So we'll discuss one by one. Okay. uh, okay. In the main one, the first object is file format. Okay. Next is data stage. Okay, then we have a copy command and then we have a snow pipe. So you need to remember these four objects. Okay, what are the four objects you need to remember? File format, stage. Okay, this is not an object. It's like an insert command. It's like a DML command only. This is a copy command. Okay, and then we have an object called snow pipe. So total three objects. One is file format, stages, and snow pipe. And this is a copy command where it's like a DML command where you used to load data from multiple source systems into this Snowflake. And there is a one more object called integration. Okay, that also you need to remember. So let me write it and paste it in the chat. First one, file format. Next one, stages. Third one, storage, integration. Okay, ignore the spelling mistakes. Next we have snow pipe. Okay, and we have a command called copy command. It's a DML command. Okay, so these are the five things. If you remember, you can play with this Snowflake object. Let me put others also. Ask and stream. Okay, and then external table. Okay, if you understand these seven objects, not seven, let me go as 8. This is 7. This is 8. Okay, now if you understand these 8 objects or 8 topics, you can play with the Snowflake like anything. Okay, let me paste it here so that you can paste it in the WhatsApp chat. Okay, so just someone copy and paste it in the WhatsApp chat, or let me, I'll do it. I have the access. Done. So you need to understand each object carefully so that it's easy for you to process anything. Okay, coming back. So these are the Snowflake objects we have to do this ELT. Okay, so all these are like basic SQL commands. We use SQL only to process these things. Okay, now let me go further. Okay, so before going into file format, okay, I like to tell you something here. Okay, so we'll just go some revision related to this SQL. Okay, then I'll jump into this file format. Let me go to notes. How to load the data into the table. Okay, in the table, as mentioned before, I have multiple options to do that. Okay. So one is we already discussed by using insert query. By using insert query, I can do that. Okay. Or do you have any more options? Yes, I have more options. Just go to catalog. Okay. If you want to create some database, here you have an option to create a database. Okay. ETL practice. Okay. Can I create a schema inside this? Yes, we can create the schema inside the database. So let me create DWH. Okay. Can I create a table? Yes, we can create a table. Just click on schema, go to this DWH schema, and then you have an option to create a table here. So you can create all these objects through UI. Okay. Getting it right? So let me go here. Let me create a table from file. Click on this. Okay, so maximum file size allowed is 250. You cannot upload more than 250 MB. And these are the file formats. These file formats are supported by Snowflake. You cannot upload other file formats. We can do it. I'll tell you in the later class how to do that other file formats. Okay, so most of the file formats are covered here: CSV, XML, JSON, Avro, Parquet. All these are covered, but in most of the times we use right XLSC format in for the Excel. So those things I'll show you how to convert and upload. That I will show you in the later class. Coming back, let me select this. Sorry. Data warehouse, data warehouse. Let me select these files. Okay. Here we have an option to create a new table, or you can search the existing table. I'm selecting create new table and LD customer. Okay. Done. So I have uploaded this CSV file. Here I have these things. If you want, you can create a new table, or you can select another table to load the data. Done. If you click on next, so you can see here, Snowflake is providing all these file format option. Okay, these are good, but I cannot customize these things. See, for example, I have a date column here. We don't have any date column. Okay, so I cannot name in what I mean. I cannot directly create with a date value. So I have multiple problems. Okay, so that is the reason. Let me show you that issues. Let me select file, save as, downloads. Let me select CSV and then save. Let me back. Let me choose this file format. Okay. Let me browse it, practice, close it. So I'm creating LD customer. Next. Okay, you can see this custom file format is not able to understand. Okay. Okay, we are getting the error. So we cannot do some customizations. Okay. So here we have multiple problems. So that is the reason we are not able to see the data. Okay. For this type of things, right, we need to create our custom file formats. What are the file formats that that Snowflake is providing? We cannot use those file formats because whatever the data we get usually, right, there are so many errors in that particular file. So that is the reason. We will not use, most of the times we will not use that Snowflake provided file format. Clear? Any doubts? Okay. So click on next. Okay. So as highlighted before, whenever I execute any operation, right, in the Snowflake, in the background, SQL queries will get executed. So for this one, to load this data, okay, what are the SQL queries are executing? You can see here in the show SQL, what it is happening. It is creating a table, okay, with all the column names. Then what it is doing, okay, it is creating a custom file, what we call the file format, okay, and then and by using copy command it is loading the data. This $1 is nothing but column names, okay. $1, $2, $3 are column names. So by using copy command we are loading this file CSV file into this table ETL practice by using this copy command. So this is what happening while I'm executing this thing. I'm clicking on load. Okay. So view table details. You can see that table has been created and data has been loaded. So if you go to here where the monitoring query history, so whatever the things I have done in the UI, you can see that automatically the queries got executed in the background. Okay. So let me here, let me refresh. This is yesterday's. See here, you can see data warehouse, not this is related to, okay, fine. But as highlighted before, whatever the things I have done, okay, so based on like whatever the things I will do, like creating database schema, table, everything, right, in the UI. So in the background it will execute this SQL query, as simple as it is. Okay, coming back, so in the ETL practice I have created this DWH. Okay, and I have based on the Excel sheet, right, I have created this table. Okay. Now, okay. So now the second thing is like, so I'm able to upload the proper file, okay, into the table. But what about the improper file? See, what is improper file means? So if you go to the Excel I have created, in this Excel, we have some issues. What are the issues? Mhm. Okay, so if you see here, so actually, what is the date format in our Snowflake, it's YYDD but here I have given in different format. So this is the one reason. Another reason is let me create one file format so that you will understand. Let me go to SQL file, create file format. Okay, I'm creating CSV1. Okay, where next type equal to CSV. Let me choose ETL practice DWH. Let me create this file format under that particular. So I have created one for file format CSV. Now let me duplicate it. Let me go to catalog. So this one ETL practice, then schemas, go to DWH. Now let me create a table from file. Choose that particular file I have created. So I have created a FF file format practice. Okay. Then let me create a new table LD cust. Okay. Next. Okay. So there is error. Let me select this CSV1. Okay. So if I select this, you can see the column. What are the column is there, right? In the header we have a column, right? That header is getting loaded. So to remove this header, okay, what we need to do, we have some option. I'll show that one. And also you see here it is not picking this column name into this column name. So I want to put the first row into the column name. So for that one, first for that one I need to add some parameters. uh, what are the parameters that this file format is providing, that I'll show you. So let me execute describe this CSV1. Let me put file format. Okay. So you see here, so these are the parameters that file format will have. So we have multiple parameters here. So we need to understand what are the benefits of, what are exactly, what will happen if I enable or disable these parameters, that I will explain in the PPT. Coming back to the file format, what is file format? In the Snowflake, the file format object is optional. Okay. It's not required. You need to create the file format. But if you're using it, you can make your data loading and unloading process much cleaner and more reusable. So whatever the data you are getting, right? If you know, right, there are so many errors in the data. So if you are using, if you use these custom file formats, right? So the data loading and loading will be cleaner, more cleaner, and proper accurate data will be loaded into the table. See, for example, you have gone to the tailor, you have given your dress material, and you didn't mention what type of dress you required. He may stitch you one-piece suit or two-piece suit. Okay. So, but actually you need a four-piece suit. Okay. But you didn't mention, due to if you are not mentioned what you actually required to the tailor, so you may get a different product. So in the similar way, if you are not using this file format, right, whatever the data entering into the table is very like it will have more impurity. It's not a actual data or business ready data. So to make it more useful, right, we write this condition. By using this condition, we load the accurate data into the table with the help of this file format. Clear? Any doubts? Understand
No
that?
doubts.
Yeah. So Snowflake file format in database object that define how Snowflake should interpret the structure of data files. Snowflake file formats are used to simplify the process loading and unloading. Snowflake using copy statement to load files from Snowflake. Multiple file types are CSV, JSON, Avro, or ORC, Parquet, and XML are supported by the Snowflake. Creating file format, let copy know how file format, store metadata, this. Okay, so this is same thing as highlighted before, and here I have given what is CSV, what is JSON, what is Avro, what is RK, Parquet, and XML. Recent days, recent times, all the companies are using this Parquet and Avro files. So and this ORC also. Okay, these three files now it's a trending. Before 2020, while I started my career, right, they used to go with this JSON or XML. Okay, CSV is common. Okay, most of the banking employees will use CSV. So this is a very common file format. What is the CSV? Nothing but if you go here, let me open with Notepad. You can see all the values are comma separated. C means comma separated option or something. So the values are stored in the comma separated thing. Okay, so that is nothing but CSV. Okay, common separated value. This is the most common for file format value for loading the data into Snowflake. Next, we have a JSON. JSON means, so this is a JSON values. If you go to image, we store the values in the form of key value pair. Okay, here we are storing the values in the form of key value pair. This is key, this is a value. See, if I want to store customer details, what I'll do? So customers, okay, and then inside I'll pass name, Pawan, email ID, like this. I will pass the values in a key value pair. Here we are storing the value in the form of comma. Here I'm passing the value in the form of key value pair. Like this. We are storing the values in the form of key value pair. Okay. So this is JSON format. Okay. And then there is a format called XML. So XML also we store in a key value pair only, but the syntax is different. Okay. If you see here, the syntax is like we'll put the IDs or what we call the keys in the form of this brackets, this what we call these brackets. Okay, we'll pass the value in these brackets. So this is XML format. So total you need to remember these three formats, and this Avro, Parquet and Avro ORC Parquets are nothing but JSON only, but in encrypted format. Okay, Avro a binary file format, efficient for storing and querying large data sets. ORC columnar file format optimized for analytical queries, and Parquet a columnar file format similar to ORC but more widely supported. So these are the encrypted formats. You cannot read the data inside these ORC and Parquet files. And binary ORC and Parquet files, those are encrypted files. So we now most of the companies are using these ORC Parquet files due to security reasons. Simple as it is. Clear. So in this Snowflake file format only support only these file formats. You cannot upload other file formats into the Snowflake. It will support only these file formats for loading the data. Okay. When loading the data in Snowflake command, Snowflake must understand the structure of the incoming file. Since Snowflake support various file types, a file format object tells Snowflake how to parse and process each file correctly. So what is the syntax for creating the file format? Create or replace file format. This type CSV, delimiter, skip header. These are all parameters. Okay, we'll see what are the parameters that Snowflake is providing. Okay, first one, compression technique. Okay, this compression technique when we use, okay, when we are unloading the data, if I want to generate some XML file or CSV file or Avro file from Snowflake table, okay, and when the file was generated, it should be compressed. Okay, what type of compression technique it need to use? We can define by using this compression. Okay, next we have a record delimiter and field delimiter. Okay, when we use this record delimiter and field delimiter, so you can see here, okay, the values in that particular file is how it has differentiated, either it with a pipe symbol or comma. If you go with CSV can store with a comma as well as pipe symbols also. So what is the file delimiter? We need to define here. Next, file extension. Okay, if I'm loading some CSV file, even though it's a CSV file, but it has stored with a extension like dot txt like that. Okay, so then we need to define those extensions here. Next, this is important. We have two options. One is parse header, second one is skip header. Okay, if you are using parse header, which means if you are putting parse header as a true, what it will do? It will put the column names as a what we call it. It will put this column name as a table column name. Here I'm not mentioning parse header, right? That is the reason by default it is taking C1, C2, C3, C4 like that. But if I put parse header as a true, now what will happen? The first row values will become the column names. Let me try this one. Let me go to my SQL. Let me go here. Okay, here only, right? Okay, if you see here, the parse header is in false. Okay, by using alter command, I'll set to true. Alter file format CSV1. Okay, parse header set parse. Let me copy it from here. Okay, let me do parse header header equal to true. Okay, let me check. So here you can see the parse header is now it's a true. Let me load the data again. Let me go back. Let me select the CSV. 0 started at line 0. What exactly the problem with this one? Back. File format practice. Okay. So I'm loading these things only, right? This. Okay. Serial number name. That's it. There are no other things here. So it's perfect. Okay. Now let me try again. Create table from file, browse this. Let me create a new table. Okay, you can load it into the existing table or you can create a new table. Let me go LE underscore CT. Okay, next. So let me select CSV1. Okay, file this rows 0 at line 0 column 0. Let me add other things. We reload. Let me create a table from file, browse, then select this file, create new table, ld, this, ld underscore cr, next. Let me select custom file format. Okay. The thing is like, okay. అక్కడ మంచిగా ఉంది. Okay, here we are having this, okay. But if you see here in the last value, okay, in the last, what is happening? There is a value TS, right? It has been came to the another this thing into here. But why there is empty here? We need to check. Go to here. Why there is a one column is empty? It's not able to read this date format. That is the problem. That is the problem. That is the reason it is throwing the error. Let me select varchar only, right? But why? Let me open with Notepad. Okay. Done. Okay, there is empty field. That is the reason it is throwing the error. Okay. So now parse header, right? If you are using parse header, what will happen? The first row will be used as a column name. If I use skip header, right? So it will skip the first row. That is the reason I have these column names. So in here I need to define it manually. ID, name, email. Then this is empty row. Let me put as address. Okay. This is date of birth. This is location, and this is phone number. So if you see here, what happened here, the the half of the votes came into this particular column. Why? If you see in this, let me open this file format, like open with Notepad. So here we have city and state, right? So these are differentiated with comma. In the CSV also the values are differentiated as a comma. Now what happened here? So the Snowflake has assumed this Hyderabad is one column, this TS is one column. That is the reason this complete value will become a single value, and this value has entered into the next column. So that is the reason this TS is showing here. I want to put this as a single value. Then what I need to add? I need to add some parameter. Okay, let me add that parameter. Let me describe. So we have an option called this thing enclosed fields. Okay, field operator enclosed by. Okay, by using this parameter, right, we can skip, we can tell to Snowflake, okay, all these are as a single value, all these values are a single value. So to parse header we have true or false. For skip header we have 0 and 1. If you are using parse header, the first row value will become the column name. If you are using skip header, the first row will be skipped and remaining values will get loaded. So this is about this. And if there is any blank spaces in the data, you need to put as a true. That means it will skip these blank rows. If you are putting as a false, all these rows will be loaded as a empty records. Next we have a date format. So now if you see here, so the current date format in the Snowflake, if you see here, it's varchar. If I put date here, right, it will throw the error. If I put date, it will throw the error. So while loading the data, we need to define what is the file format I'm using here. So that file format we will define by using this object, by using this parameter, file format parameter. Next, date format, time format, timestamp format will define like this. Next, as mentioned before, if there is a comma, Snowflake will consider the earth as a one column, remaining value as another column. So to consider all these as a single column, right, we need to define this with the exclamatory that I'll show you. Okay. So let me use this. Let me go back here. let me add this thing, escape enclosed by, right? So that is what it has mentioned, right? Escape enclosed field. Escape enclosed field. This is the one. Let me update this one. Alter file format. Set this equal to, we are defining with a exclamatory, which means if you are seeing this, okay, skip this particular point. Let me add this. Okay. Now let me refresh here. Create table from file, browse this, and then let me create ld underscore cast. Next, let me select this CSV1. Okay. Now you see here all the values are properly loaded. Okay. And then you can see this Hyderabad data is also loaded properly. Okay. So like all this value will become a single column. Okay. Now I don't want to use varchar. I want to use this as a date format. Then what I need to do, I need to add the date format here. So alter table name, set date format. Let me select this date format equal to, what is the date format we are using? DD
Oh,
YY. Okay. Now let me try same. Let me go back and let me click on next. Let me select CSV1 and let me select as a date. Okay. So let me put this ID, name, email, date, DOB, and then location. Click on load, it will throw the error. Oh, super. View table details. Now you can see, but this is not happened. So still it has loaded Hyderabad into here and then into here. Okay, so somewhere I have written wrong. Let me go back, select, start from this LD cost. Okay, first let me truncate the data. Truncate LD cost. Okay, table is truncated. Now where I have done wrong, let me check with this. I used the same, right? Field. Okay. I used wrong parameter. Sorry. So this is the parameter I need to use. Field option and closed by. Okay. Now let me load the data again. Okay. Load data, browse. file format practice one. Next, let me use my custom file format at the last. Values for parameter field optional close by with parameters. This. Let me do one thing. We go back to here. Let me create or replace file format. Okay. Then now let me parse header to true. Done. Now this one to delimiter. Next date format is ddmmyy. Okay, let me go back and come back, come friend to the load. Okay, so we have correct, but y values will be null. Let me try to load. Fail to load invalid format parse is only allowed for CSV infra schema matched by column name. But the column names are correct only, right? Is there any spaces in between the column name? No. Matched by column name true. We need to set this parameter also. Let me set this parameter. Alter this, then invalid property matched by column name. Okay, one thing I'll do. Let me recreate. So I'm not going with this parse header. I'll go with the skip header. Okay. Next, let me fill delimiter optional. Yes, and then this is the date format. Done. Let me go back and then back. Then next. So let we have selected CSV1 only. So we are loading this ID into here, name into here, email into here, date of birth into here. Data type does not matches. Why? So I have given DDMMYYY only, right? So this is the format I have given. Let me put in capital letter DDMMYYY. Back and next. Still the error it is throwing. There is no column called phone while creating the table. Let me uncheck this. Only this date value it is throwing the error. View table details. Fine, that's it. That's it. Okay, so you understand, right? So whatever the data I'm getting from the files in the real-time scenario to load the accurate data into the table. Okay, what we use this file format. Okay, in the file format, we'll create our custom file format. This will remove the errors in the real time. Okay, that's it. Let me load. Okay, view table details. Here you can see that numbers are also added. Okay, so what are the parameters I have just used? I have used the parameters date format. So I have converted DDMMYY into the system format YYMMDD. Next, what I have done, if there is any commas in the delimiter, right? I'm telling to Snowflake that consider this entire value as a single value. Okay, so then, so what are the file I'm getting? I'm mentioned that is a CSV file. Okay, and I'm in the file we have a header. Okay, by using skip header, I'm telling to Snowflake, okay, do not load the first row value. Like that, I can pass the conditions in this file format. So if you describe the file format, we have multiple options. What are the options we have? Let me go to describe file format. You can see we have multiple options. Okay, what are the options we have? First one, type. What is the file format I'm going to load? It's a CSV. Next, record delimiter slash field delimiter, comma. Okay, then extension. So we don't have any extension. That is it. That is the reason it's null. So if you are loading some CSV file with some dot extension or txt extension, we need to update this parameter as a txt. Next, skip header. We need to skip header, right? First one need to be skip. That is the reason I'm mentioning one. So parse header, skip header. We can use it. We can use only one value. So here we'll not use while loading the data into the table. We'll not use this thing while creating the table, then only we can use this parse header. Next, we have a date format. I have modified the date format. And if you want to modify time format or timestamp format, you can mention here. Next, if there is any spaces in the value padding, then we use this trim spaces as a true. Okay. If you are getting empty value, then it will change it into null if. And then we have compression technique while unloading the data from table, right? So we need to unload the data with a different compression techniques that we'll mention here. By default, it will be gzip. If you want, you can change it into another format. So and errors on column mismatches. So if there are columns are mismatching, right? If you are loading 6 or 7 columns, but in the table you have 5, you can use this as a true, which means it will validate it by his own brain. Okay, like that we have multiple parameters in the file format. By using these file formats, okay, whatever the loader data loading into the table, I can what we call I can uh, do this filtering or nothing but cleaning with the help of this file format. Clear? Any doubts related to this file format? Team, any
No,
doubts?
no
Yeah.
doubts.
So today just practice with this thing. Tomorrow we'll go with the this other file formats like JSON and Avro. Okay. So we have UTF this thing by default. It will be UTF-8. You as mentioned before. What is UTF? So this Snowflake or any database applications or any software can understand only it can process only English words. Okay. If you want to process other words like Telugu, Urdu, or anything, right? So then what you need to do, you need to use this UTF file format. By default, this file format can support UTF-8 so that you can store any type of values. It may be a Telugu, Urdu, or special symbols, smiley symbols, anything you can process and store uh, in the file format. Okay, so that's it about the file format. So tomorrow we'll see how to load data from your local system to the server. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.